Welcome guys, welcome to this video. In this video we are going to generate sitemap for laravel applications as well as for PHP applications. So sitemap is something that you need for your website for the SEOs, and you can generate the sitemaps and we will not use any kind of package, so it's not going to be any kind of burden on your application. We will just use the PHP, and in case of laravel application we will use the laravel to make it work. Alright, so here I have a small application. Basically, I just created the project. It's here, the sitemap. So if I open this folder, it's nothing but the brand new Laravel application. And I'm having this running currently on the port 8000. So, and also the database I have connected here. So if I go to posts here, you will see that there is some random posts, and we have content as well as status as published. So what I want to do, I want my blog posts to be seen by all the search engines like Google. So we need to create a sitemap for it. So let's do that. So here, these are the posts. So for sitemap, first we are going to see how we can do it using Laravel, as we have the Laravel application up. And currently what I did is I created a table. I copied from here from the Bootstrap side, and I used Bootstrap CDN, which is the latest Bootstrap 5. So you can use these if you want to, and that's why we have the post displayed something like this. Okay, so for the sitemap, let's get started. What we need to do, we need to open the terminal, and I'm in the folder currently. You can see the sitemap, the same folder. I will say here ls, so you will see that all the application files are here. So we have the artisan file here. That's why we can run the PHP artisan commands. So I simply clear it. I say PHP artisan make command, and we call this command as generate sitemap. All right, and that's what we want. So I hit it, it creates a command for us. So if I go to the project files in app console, then commands, you will notice there is a file generate sitemap. And let me correct one thing, because it's a class. If you go here, you see, and a class should have a capital letter. So let me delete this, and we always need to care about the best practices, so make sure you follow as well. So generate sitemap, and it takes not much time, and we already got the class up. So here we have it. Now first thing first, here to run the command we need to mention here what we want to call it. So here command and name, so we will say here simply generate and sitemap. Alright, and here you can give some kind of description about it. So this command generates sitemap for the website, or whatever you want to say. You can mention here that gives the information about it. Then we come here to the handle function. Here all the magic happens. We need to put code here, and that code is going to generate the command. So for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove the return, and I'm going to add the try statement here. So we face any issue, we catch the error. So we are going to use here exception $e, and here I'm going to simply say log capital L, it's going to be error, and we can pass the error by get message. So alright, so we will be able to get the message in our logs if something goes wrong. Now let's deal with the code where we need to work with it. So first thing first, we need the we want to create a sitemap. So sitemap is going to have the post titles, and because that's what Google going to have indexed. So for that we need to loop through. So I have a post controller here, and here I have this function index. So here I'm already looping through. I can copy the code from here to here. Now I'm getting the all posts here, and if I just copy this. We can simply loop through here for each post as post. Alright, and here we can say var, or let's add dd so we see the first post. That's it. We at least get the idea what we're getting. So here we have title. So inside the posts we have title, content, and status and ID. So we can get these things. So here now, to see this code running, we need to run this command. For that, we go back here, I clear the screen, and here I say PHP artisan, and this time we need to, after artisan, we need to pass this generate sitemap. So just like this. So let's pass that, generate sitemap. We hit it, and we get the error that app console command not found. Alright, that's alright because we haven't included it on top, so we are getting the error. So if I go back in controller, we are including it here. So I'm going to copy that and simply go back here and paste it here. Alright, so we have it now. So let's run this command again. Okay, so we got the title here. So if you go back here, you will see the title of the first post, and that's what we need. We need title for all posts. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back, and here I'm going to create a variable. It's going to be $URLs, and by default it's going to be empty array. And then what I want to do, I want to put every title in this array. So for that, what we do, we simply put it here inside loop URLs, and then equals, and what we can say, we can pass the, let's say your post is like something like this, slash posts slash then the post title, whatever. For example, if this is the title, so it's like here. So if you post something like this, or you have posts, and then you have ID of the posts, so for example something like this. So you need to make sure what is the URL for each post. In our case, in this app, I don't have the URL for it, something like this, so let's add it quickly. So what we do, basically, I need to go where this list is going. If you want to skip this part, you can do it, because it's a bit unrelated to the sitemap generation. So let's do this. Now go to welcome.blade. Here is the loop where it's happening. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just wrap the title with anchor tag here. So I'm going to say anchor tag, and alright, our title goes inside it. Now I simply get the ID. I simply say slash post slash ID. So this is going to be the URL for our post here. Now when I go to welcome.web.php, here we need to define the route. So here we can say route and get, and it's going to be the post slash, we pass here ID and comma. I'm going to copy this from top here, and I'm going to paste here. And now if I go to the post controller, here we have a show method, so we can pass that here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to simply say show. Now here in the show method, you want to pass here simply, it's a store, so show is here. So we say post where ID equals $ID, because we are passing the ID. Simply get it. Alright, let me say $post. Now we want to create a view file here, so say return a view, and it's going to be single, not actually single only, and we want to pass the post with it, so with, and we say $post, and I want to pass here encode post. All right, now we don't have single dot blade.php, so we go back here next to the welcome, create a file single.blade.php. All right, post. So here it's gonna be $post title. Okay, it should work. Let's see here. Refresh the page. We have links. If I click here, we get post 1. Now it says title doesn't exist. Okay, so we get in the getter because if I go back to code, we are getting get. It gets the collection, complete collection. So what we want a single post. So we can use first in this case. And when we use the first, we get the single post, and it should get the title straight away. So if I refresh, we have the title. So if I go to any of these posts, we can get the title. Now, for the if you we are doing the post and ID, so we can also do it in a slug way if you want to. And so currently, if I go to post any of the posts, I'm getting the post. If you want to add the slug for SEO, what you can do basically, you can modify your URL just like pass here slug. So I simply say here slug, and we need to update the links. So here where we have our link, I'm gonna pass here another slash, and then I'm gonna pass this, copy this here, paste here. This time I'm gonna just say title. Now we need to convert it to slug, so we're gonna use the laravel helper in this case, and it's gonna be string slug. Okay, so it's gonna convert it to slug. You can see here. So we have slug now, and the rest all stays the same. So if you want to search from slug, you can do that, but I'm gonna leave it because that's not what we are looking for in this video. So if I go back now here, you can see we have slug. So if I click here, we also have the slug as well for each of the posts. All right, so we want our URLs to be like this: post ID and slug. So if I go back to the command, just generate sitemap here, what we want to do, we want to say it's going to have the post, then it is going to have, we want to put a concatenation, then $post, and we want to have the ID, and then we want to have the slug. So for that, we want to say we can use the same function, helper function, slug, and we pass here $post title like that. Okay, and we can see what we are getting. After that, we just want to dd here, put here all the URLs. So we should have $URLs like this. So now let's run the command. So go back here, this time clear, and run the command generate sitemap. Okay, we don't have the helper function, so let's include it. Okay, so for that I go back to code. On top, I'm just gonna pass here the string helper use, so it should be fine now. And let's run the command again. So here clear, and then run the command. Now you will see that our URLs, so we have 1,000 posts, and it created the URL for it. So each post has something like this. You will notice the one on top is number. It's here. It's a post 8, and you can see that. So exactly the same URL. So Google will index this URL. So that's how it is going to work. So it's perfectly fine. So our URLs are working. Now what we need to do, we need to attach the domain. Now I also want to say that in case you face any kind of issues during your code with the performance of your app, you can add a few things. So here where you are running the code, you can add this. It's going to set the memory limit to unlimited, time limit to unlimited. So that's if it takes some time, it's going to work. Now we have the URLs ready. Now it's the time we work further. Now if you want to create, let's say we want to create this file in a public folder. So currently we want to generate a file, and that goes inside the public folder here. So for that, what we want to do, we want to create a directory. So I say here, sitemap folder. Okay, so here, let's generate it. So I say if not file exists, and I'm going to pass the public path function, which is from Laravel, and I'm going to say here sitemap. All right. If not exists, we want to create it, so it's going to be mkdir, and in mkdir, and here we want to say again public path and sitemap. Now we can pass permissions in this one, so 077, so that and also true. Okay, so it's going to make sure that we have a folder. Now whatever file we generate, we want to put inside public and then sitemap folder. Okay. All right. Now what do we want to do? We want to add a header, and in this header I want to say content type Okay, now what do we want to do? Now we need time as well. So first I get the time, so here $time, because when you generate it, you want to add a timestamp. So here time is going to be new date, and we want to pass it in a particular format, so we use new date time for it. Now, without using package, we need to create it. So we need to use the DOM document. So for that, what we do, we simply say here DOM, and then I'm going to set it equal to new DOM and document. Okay, and make sure the DOM is uppercase. And here inside it, we want to pass version. I'm going to say 1.0. So pass it as it is. So it's going to be UTF-8. Alright, now what the further steps going to be, let's see. So here what we want to do now, we want to have a main tag that will be wrapping all our posts inside the XML file. So for that we want a root for that, so I will call it main root tag. So here it's going to be $root is equal to $DOM, and here we say create element, and here inside we say URL set. So this is the format what we need for your XML. So it's going to be URL set, and we want to say we want to attach it to DOM. So we want to say here simply append child. Okay, append child, and we pass the root there. So far so good. Now we need to set few values for our XML. We need to tell some attributes that is required for your sitemap. So it's going to be $root, and in this we say set attribute. So it's going to be attribute, and I'm going to pass here. The first is XML and NS, comma. It is going to be http:// www.sitemaps.org /schema /sitemap /0.9. And this is something you need to do it this way, so you just do it, just add it this way. These are the attributes required for your sitemap to work. So alright, so we have it here. Now what I will do, there are going to be a few more attributes, so instead of typing everything, I'm going to copy paste everything. I have it here with me, so I'm just going to even override this. So okay, here it is. So I want to create two variables outside this class here, and these variables going to be here. So first I want to have $data, so at last we will use it. It's going to be by default empty array, and also the $path, and it's going to be equal to empty string. Now as we are working with class, we can say here the public, both are public variables, we can use them anywhere. So here inside it, what I want to do, want to access one of these variables, so I simply call here this because we are calling it from the class. So path is equal to, I will use the method from laravel, public path, and here inside it I say sitemap. Okay, site, okay, spelling needs to be correct. Make sure spellings are correct. And then we can say file name if you want to give a file name. I've created a local variable in this case, file name, and for now I simply say sitemap. Okay, you can give any name you want. So you can deal with because sitemap is something you can generate every day and submit to Google, Ping, Go, and other search engines every day. So you can do something like this, like you have you rename the previous sitemap and generate a new one. So what I mean is that every day you create a new sitemap. So the sitemap you created last time going to have name sitemap. You change the name of it and you add a new sitemap with this name. So we can do that. So here I say rename, and when we execute this command, once everything done, you will see how it works. So bear with me on this one. So here renaming, rename old sitemap. Okay, so here what we want to do, we want to say if file exists, because if you add new posts in your blog, you want to submit that post to the Google. So obviously you want to recreate sitemap. So the previous sitemap you had in the sitemap folder will be renamed to something else, and your new sitemap will be renamed to sitemap. Okay, so here we first check if the file exists. So we say we have the path here, and just check there if the file exists. So we say dollar file name. We need a dollar here, and then they're going to be .xml as it's XML format. All right. Now, what do we want to do further? Now, here, I want to check. First, I will change the permissions so we won't get any error while we're renaming it. So it's going to be $this path and 0777. All right. So it's going to change the permission, chmod, and this time I want to change the permission for that exact file. So we say $this. All right, simply copy it from here like this. Okay, and comma, then 0777. So 0777 is the full permission. Do everything with this file you are allowed. Then there is rename. Now this function will allow us to rename the file. So here I'm gonna copy the path from here, and I'm gonna paste it here. All right, so this is we want to change it to what? So this is the file, first parameter, and the new name of the file. So we say here $this, right? Simply paste it again. So we have the now here file name. We need to change it, and what I'm going to do in this case, I'm going to pass here a string, and I say sitemap dash old dash. I put a date, so we have a track when this sitemap was updated to, or you can outdate it. You can say date, and here I want to pass the string of format, what format we want date in. So we can say M capital Y. Even I can have the hours, minutes as well. So for hours H, minutes, seconds, you can have that. All right, so it's gonna deal with it. It's gonna rename it, and the new file will be with the sitemap name, and the old file will be in sitemap old some date. Okay, so we already have the URLs here. We could do it inside in this loop as well, but for the simplicity, I'm going to reloop on this URLs. So what I do simply, we know that we have an array of URLs, so we say here for each, and here $URLs is $URL, All right, and here this time we want to check if is set $URL. So what do we want to do? We want to create some data, and we want basically we want to create elements for our DOM that we initiated here. It is outside the loop because we have a parent element that we created, which is a root user set. Now we want to put every child inside it. So let's do that. So here, what we are going to do, we're going to say here $result, and I'm going to put it to equal to $DOM, create element, and here I'm going to pass URL. All right, then we have access to root as well, and we can append it to root. So here, append child $result. All right, now we need to make sure it is correct. It's root, and here $result. We further can append child on this. So append child, and here this time we want to create a further properties. So it's going to be priority. We want to provide a priority, and the URL, the location. So here, let's first put here LOC, and it's gonna actually we can pass directly the create DOM inside it. So we say DOM here like this, and we say create element, and inside it we say LOC, comma, and then we can pass the domain name. So it's going to be http://zox.biz. So for now, I just passing the domain name here. Your site domain you can pass here. All right, then you can append the $URL. So if you remember, we ran the command, we have these URLs. So it is going to attach this particular thing to our domain. So it's going to be a full URL. So you can see here, that's what we are doing. Now, once you have it, we want to append more childs here. So another one in the priority we need to define. So it's going to be the result, append child again, and here I'm going to copy this actually straight away to save time and paste it here. Now here, first thing first, priority. So you give more priority to the pages where you want to have, you're going to tell Google that these are more important pages. I'm going to give 1.0 to every page for now. Then at last, result, append child. Again, I'm going to copy this, and we want to pass the time when. So here, basically, we say here last modified. So when last modified this post, so you can give any time. So either you can fetch it from your database, or for now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to say here time, and format, and I'm going to pass here date. So time. Atom. So this is going to be a particular style of date. Atom style of format of date. It's gonna get as we put here. All right. Now, what do we want to do? We want to see that it is generating or not. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run a command here. So here I say if env, and I want to check if I'm working on localhost. What we should do. So I say app underscore env. If this is defined as local, then we want to generate this file to a folder and do nothing else. So we simply say $DOM, save, and we pass the public path here, and here slash sitemap slash $file name dot xml. All right. So this is what we want to do, and yeah. Okay. So as we are working on localhost, it should, and we need app environment. So if we go here, you can see app environment here. It's set to local. So that means it is going to generate the file to this directory, and that's what we want. And spelling should be correct. Now, if in case you are, because you want the sitemap to be working with the live site, in that case you need to curl and you need to ping to Google. So for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy paste here the code that you can use. So I'm going to copy this code here. So basically we can say here, if it is localhost, return as well. So stop, don't go any further. Otherwise, if it is not localhost, what do we want to do? We have here sitemap URL. You pass the URL and the directory, so public folder. Your domain comes here. Make sure I'm just passing our website's name on my website's name here. But in your case, you need to pass your website's name, then the folder where your sitemap folder you created. So in generally we are creating it inside public path, So we are saying public path sitemap and the file name. So it gets from here, then this curl, it does the trick. Here we are passing it to the Google, then we're passing to Bing, MSN, and the further to Yahoo, And it is echoing everything out, so when the command is complete, you will see the output on terminal. Alright, let's see what happens now if we run this command. So if I go back here, and this time clear the screen again, and run this command. Okay, we get an error. First thing first, we need to import this date time, so let's do that. So go on top here, we say use, and we need date time, and just simply date time. Now it should be fine. Let's try again if we're missing something else as well. Now the DOM document, that is also straight away use DOM document. Okay, that should be fine. And let's review if we missed something here. So basically DOM document, and date time, yeah, all it should be fine now. So let's retry. So I go back here and run this, and this ran, and it did something, but let's see what happened. So if check our code, basically we are creating a directory and passing this XML sitemap to, and we make sure that this goes inside the public folder. So let's see. So here, if I go to public folder, we have sitemap and then the sitemap.xml. Brilliant. Now let's open the file. We have this showing up here, but something is not working. Okay, let's see. It should have the all URLs. Instead, we got only single URL. So you can see here, we have location, priority, last modified. It's wrap inside URL, which is correct. It should be like that. And so if I go back to the, you can see here, we added the URL set initially. So URL set here, it was the root, so that's why it is the set here. Then we added these attributes, and those all attributes we set here, those are added here, so these are required. Then we have the URL, then location, priority, last modified. So if I go here, we have location, priority, last modified, just as it should be. Okay, so the problem here is that by mistake I added this code that is going to ping to the search engines inside the loop. We don't want it inside the loop. We want it outside once everything is ready. So we need to cut this code, and we need to make sure we're not cutting any. So I'm gonna make it a bit smaller so we can see here. So our loop is basically here, you can see, and then we have if statement going on, which is here. So this code is going to go after, so not here. And when we put a return here, it is going to break the loop. So it's not going to put second post. So we need to remove the return from here. Now this goes here. Okay, so we have here the loop working, creating sitemap. Once everything is ready, we are saying go in this folder, in our site, inside folder, get the sitemap file, and then send these to Google and every other search engine. Now we are doing it in localhost, so what we can do basically, we actually what I do, I paste it here and go cut this and go outside. So we can say here dd sitemap generated. Alright, so what is going to happen, it's going to create the sitemap for us. Once it is done, it is going to say, it's going to stop the script and just going to give the message. It's not going to ping to search engines, but in case if it is not localhost, it will not go inside this statement, it will ping to the search engines. Okay, let's see what happens this time. So we go back here and this time clear the screen first. After that I run the command again and it says sitemap generated. Perfect. Let's go and see our sitemap. So if I go to the folder and here we have sitemap and you can see now we have a lot of data. So this is for the thousands posts. So what I do, so we can see it at least, we can go back in the code. I limit this to 2 posts only. So on top where we are looping through and getting the posts, so actually we are getting here, I say get, and I say take 2. I believe it's gonna work, but if it changes the formatting of it, then it's generated. Let's see now. Let's go back to the XML again. Public XML. Now let's see if it is working. I break it again so we can see it. So we have URL. Each URL has location inside it. Priority. Last modification, and you can see that now we have another URL coming in here with priority, last modified, and yeah, it is wrapped as expected. So we are having it closed with the URL set. Both are different posts. We have timestamp, priority. You can set the priority based on according to your requirement. So you got the idea. Now you can work with this and have your sitemap ready. Alright guys, so we generated the XML. Now it's time we work with the PHP. So if you have a PHP project, not a Laravel project, how will you do it? So if I go to, this is the application that we created a moment ago, the Laravel app, and where we created a command where we are going and generating this. Now, yeah, I have Atom open where I have the one app here, and basically it's index.php and as well as db.php. So we are just connecting to one site and database and basically showing up the results here. So currently, if I go to localhost test, we have 0 results showing up there. So what I want to do here, if I simply remove this code and simply say here echo, and I say here hello. Alright, and when I say hello, save it, go back there, refresh, we get hello there. Alright, so I just emptied this file. Now it's completely blank here, nothing is we have here. And what I want to do, first thing first, I want to put some error handling. So I simply say display errors. If there is going to be any error, show me the error. Now here in our code in Laravel, we created it this way, so I'm just gonna use that class, something like this. So here I'm simply gonna say first initialize class, and we're gonna call it generate sitemap. All right, this is the class, and okay, we need to just initialize it here, and I define the class here. So I say here class generate sitemap, and here we can break it like this. Inside it, I want to have the constructor, so it's going to be public function underscore construct. All right, and here I'm going to say echo, and I say simply works. So we see some output coming up. Refresh, we get works. So when we initialize a class, we run the constructor directly. Okay, so we have it inside it. So what I do is simply copy everything here, and then we modify it. So I copy this, and I go here, paste here. Okay, now all the code is here for us. Now we know that log is not present, so we can we can see the error straight away. So what I do, instead of log, I'm going to say here die, and whatever error comes, show me the error and stop the script. I'm going to remove this dd here. Actually, we do need this dd there as well. So now if I go to the top, or let's see step by step what we need to change to make it work. So we have here two properties. I use this property, so it's going to be just fine. We have it here. We can put it on top where we have like this, and concatenate a bit like, all right. Now here we have generate sitemap. So we are not running the command. It's not a command we are working with anymore, so we remove these two. Okay, then we have a handle function. You can change the name to this function if you want to. Function to generate sitemap. Okay, now what we are doing, we are getting the posts here. Now we need to change it because in Laravel we can do it, but in PHP we can't do it. Right, so let's query the code here. I'm gonna put exit so we don't go any further, and on top here we want to say MySQLi connect. So we want to connect to database. So I have the DB connection here. I can copy this actually. And I'm going to paste here. I'm doing it a single file. You can separate it if you want to. So it's get root, password going to be nothing. And in the database, if we go, our database name is test. So we need to pass name as test. All right. Now here I want to say, let's call it link. Okay, now what do we want to do further? Now we need to say here $query. Now it's going to be select all from posts. Okay, so it's going to get everything from posts. Then we want to say $result. And we want to say like MySQLi query, and we pass this query inside it, and then in here we want to do a loop. So I say while $row equals MySQLi fetch a sock, and we pass here $result. And I want to check what is happening here. So var underscore dump, and I pass $row here, and we have exit afterwards, so it's not gonna let it go any further. And yeah, and here what we want to do, instead of echo, we want to say $this, and we want to call this handle function so that it runs. Now how will we know that it is running? So I put here echo process started. Alright, so I instantiate the class after the class is created at the bottom. We see if we need to use it further, but for now that's it. And here I want to put the exit just after echo. So see if it's working. Okay, still white, so go back. what I do is take all the code from here, and then we see, and let's try this. Okay, it is ending the class. I need to put a semicolon here. Sorry, curly brace. Now let's put it back. The code. And save it, go back, let's see if it works. Yeah, this time it worked. Now we have the process started, so I can just remove it and put it here somewhere. So we save our query working. Save it, refresh, uncaught argument, MySQL. My bad here, we need to pass this $link to this query like this. Alright, so now let's refresh. We have the posts. To see it properly, we can say echo and pray. And refresh, you can see that we have the posts coming. Alright, now it's time we put the post into URL. So here we have it, and we are doing it right here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take this memory limit and these things on top, this initially, and after that we have posts here, and then we are looping through, so we don't need it. I remove it. We have URL. I take it on top initially. It's a local variable now. Put it right here, and then here inside this, we're gonna cut this from here and gonna modify it here. So if you see here, we can access these. This is array, then ID, title. So we can pass here like something like this, $row, and then we need to pass here ID. And for title, we need to pass here like title here. Alright, now here we can check as well, like if we are getting it or not. So I put it here and save it. So we can, I need to remove this for each as well. Alright, so go back, refresh. We get the, the title, so it works. So we need to convert it to slug, but we don't have this class because it's a laravel class. We can't use it here. So what we can do, we can use a function. So we have this class, and then we have this function inside it. So what I want to do, I want to create a separate function for it. So what I do, I have a pre-written function so that we can save our time instead of writing a function to just creating a slug. I'm going to copy paste that here. So it's nothing much here. It's slugify function. We pass a text. A divider is given here. Then we are using the preg replace. We are just converting the string and changing it every time. You can see here. So it's technically updating it, removing spaces, adding dashes, and returning that string. So what we can do, we can call this function instead of that. So here, instead of string class, so here I'm gonna simply say $this and these slugify, and whatever it returns is gonna append here. So good. So what we can do, we can test it as well. So just gonna copy this and put it here in var dump. So previously we were saying the title here, now it should be a slug. So refresh, I think. Go back. Did I miss anything? Okay, we missed Alright, refresh. Okay, you can see that we have slugs now. We have repost as the slug. That's great. So that's what we want actually. So we are now, this time we have the URLs getting inside this. Okay, so I'm gonna remove this, or better comment it. So this is gonna create the URLs array. Then we are checking the folder. Now here, what we're gonna do, we're gonna say file exists. We're gonna remove this public part because that's not gonna work this time. It's a laravel function, and I'm just gonna leave it like that. So it's going to create the folder in the root directory with the name of sitemap. And what else we need to change here? We need to say this path to sitemap. Alright, so far so good, everything looks good, and yeah, now it's gonna save. Again, we need to save it in the root now, and this we need to remove. And here, what I want to do, I want to stop it simply, and sitemap generated. Because we are testing it, so we just wanted to stop it here. You can further process it if you want to, but for now, we're going to do it this way. Alright, let's see if it works. So far, so good. Now, if I refresh, alright, so what I do, I simply remove it. So, we have it here, process started, I don't want it. I'll go back here, refresh. Warning, mkdir read-only file system. Alright, so I need to remove the slash here. Try again. Okay, so remove it as well. Refresh. And document save. Failed to open, no such file. Alright, the another error is document save, no file found. 120. So go back here, it's right here, so we need to remove the slash and try again. Refresh. Sitemap generated. Now let's see if it did. So yeah, we have the sitemap, open it, and you can see that it generated. So by using PHP only, we also got the sitemap. So if I again do it, so go to the code back here, so now if I go to query, select all from posts, it says say limit 2, just to see, so we're getting the right format. I refresh, it generates, I go back here, and now it's 2, so we can again check the formatting here, and URL, then we have location, then we have priority, okay, then the last modified, and URL close, and then all wrapped up with the URL set. So yeah, successfully created using PHP as well. So the code is available to download. You can download it, so you can generate XML sitemap using any of your PHP or Laravel without any package or anything. Hope you like this. Thank you for watching. And hope is not enough.